Children, I am Dr. Aruna Mohan from Delhi University, discussing with you in this session disorders of digestive system. Though our body is a wonderful machine and it is self-maintained to some extent, but if body parts are there, then disorders may also be there. It may be naturally coming to different parts, or it may be due to our carelessness sometimes. The first disorder which I may like to discuss with you is inflammation of intestinal tract. We know that our intestinal tract is very long. We call it GIT, gastrointestinal tract, starting from mouth ending at anus. It is a long path to go. So, on the way, inflammation or some disorder may occur at some or the other point. The reasons may be bacteria infection or viral infection, or even some big parasites in the intestine. If it is bacterial or viral infection, it will give certain indications, certain problems. But if it is parasite, a good sized parasite, then the indications come little later and treatment also go very long time. These parasites can be tapeworm, roundworm, threadworm, hookworm, pinworm and many more, which can be seen by even naked eyes. In this slide, children, you can see tapeworm, roundworm, hookworm, pinworm. You have heard about tapeworm. The scientific name is Taenia solium. It is really very long. If it enters the alimentary canal, then it will grow. It will have so many segments called proglottids, and each segment is a full animal. And once it is in the alimentary tract, the segments break, come out one by one through feces, and they are the cause for infection further to other individuals. You may also like to know, children, how one can get this tapeworm inside the alimentary canal. It normally comes through pork because pig is the intermediate host for this particular parasite. This means this parasite has two hosts, one is pig and other is man. So, it will complete its life cycle in pig, and then along with the pork, if not properly cooked, it reaches our intestine, and once it reaches the intestine, its mouth has hooks and suckers with which it makes very firm contact with the internal lining of the alimentary canal and lives happily there. Food which we eat becomes his food as well. Of course, the person having this tapeworm inside will have nausea, will have vomiting, will suffer several problems, but unless this tapeworm is removed, he will not be cured. So, while eating pork, one should make sure that it is cooked at very high temperature. It should not be partially cooked and should not be less cooked than required. So, this is about the tapeworm. Coming to roundworm, as the name indicates, they are roundish, they are not flat like tapeworm, and they are also very long. The scientific name is Ascaris lumbricoides, and male is smaller than the female in size, and it also gives various symptoms when it is in the alimentary canal. In case of tapeworm, you may have one big tapeworm in the body, but in case of roundworms, you will have hundreds of them. And when medication is given, then they come out along with your feces in clusters, in hundreds, in thousands. So, there are so many, and they are eating away all the food which you are eating for yourself. Similarly, pinworms, hookworms and threadworms are equally injurious, and most of them of course reach through our food. but some can reach even through our soles or feet. When one is walking without slippers on the moist ground or on the grass, and if some of these are there, they may make their way through feet. That happens normally in villages, in gardens, in fields, etc. Then in that case they will enter the feet. You can see them on the feet under the skin. They will go through thigh, reach the abdominal part and go to different parts of the body and settle, and sometimes they are coming out through eyes, coming out through nose, making a small hole in the finger, coming out through fingers. So things become so very difficult. So children, what do we learn from this? We should wash our hands properly before we eat food, because some of these worms in the form of eggs can be on our hands. And more than that, we should wash any fruit or vegetable before we consume it. Also, we should keep our food covered. We should preserve our food properly, and when we are walking outside the house, we should have some good footwear so that things do not affect our body through our feet. Unless we are careful, these parasites are going to affect us badly. Parasite is, after all, a parasite. It needs a host, and if we are the host for these parasites, they will definitely try to come on us, and it is our duty to see to it that they are not coming on us. And these parasites, when they enter alimentary canal, they become parasites of our GIT, alimentary tract, gastro-alimentary tract. Let us now discuss about some other ailments of alimentary tract, and the first and the most important one is jaundice. In this, liver is badly affected. Skin and eyes turn yellow. Why? Because bile pigments are deposited in various parts of the body, and that is why the cloth which one wears in case of jaundice will also become yellowish. It is because of bile pigment. Why it is happening? Because liver is not functioning properly. Children, you must remember that liver is the most important and the largest gland in our body. It is taking care of so many things in the body. All the metabolisms are taking place through liver. It is highly vascularized, highly supplied by blood, and hence any infection your body has will definitely reach liver. And if it is the infection which affects liver, liver will be affected. And if liver becomes sick, then the first thing is one has jaundice. And now this jaundice is not the case of 1 or 2 days. It takes long time to be cured. One thing. Second thing, once it is cured, the person has to take care for another 6 months that liver becomes healthy and one is not putting on weight, because that is a tendency after liver infection. So jaundice which comes through water medium, we should be careful that water which we drink is correct, and the things which we eat through water are also correct, like you are having some juices outside the house or having some ice cream from market. If ice cream is not stored properly, then also there are chances that one may get these germs of jaundice through badly stored ice cream. So children, you must appreciate the fact that whatever we eat outside the house, we have to be very calculative to find out whether we should take it or we should not, or we should take things only from the correct places. Next disorder I would like to discuss about vomiting. Children, you all are very familiar with vomiting. Sometimes or other we do it. It is ejection of stomach content through mouth. Why? Because vomiting center in medulla is stimulated. It is reflex action which is controlled by a vomiting center in medulla, and it initiates with nausea before vomiting. Children, you must have realized sometimes when you feel like vomiting, you won't start vomiting immediately. First you will feel difficult, then you will feel nauseatic, then you will feel that you are having hunger for oxygen, then you will feel that you are not feeling like eating, you are feeling against food, and after having all these feelings you will go and vomit. So, vomiting is a process which takes little longer to come, and once it comes then you are vomiting the content of the stomach. So, first thing you must realize that vomiting does not come out just as simple as throwing out stomach content. It starts from brain, from medulla part of the brain, then reflex action coming to stomach, then feeling of giving out or throwing out, and then you are throwing out the stomach content. So, you are doing something which is against the normal process. The normal process is you eat food, it goes down to stomach, and vomiting is from stomach you are throwing things out. So, this vomiting is the indication either there is some infection in your stomach or in the intestine, or you have overeaten, or the food which you ate was not compatible with your body nature, or it was very spicy, or it was wrong kind of food. Mainly it happens if it is infected food. This is one part of vomiting which you must understand. The second part is when you are vomiting, only contents from stomach are coming out, maximum from small intestine, the initial part, the content will come out. Never the content of rectum or large intestine will come out through mouth, because there is a valve between small intestine and the large intestine which will not allow content of large intestine to come out through mouth. Those contents of large intestine will come out only through anus. Is it not a very good arrangement? So, we do not get that bad feeling that some bad thing is coming out through mouth. We know the food which we have eaten is coming out through mouth, and that is about vomiting. Diarrhea is another disorder of our alimentary tract. In this, there is abnormal frequency of bowel movement, increased liquidity of fecal discharge, and reduction of absorption of food. What do we understand from this? If there is abnormal frequency of fecal movement, that means if we are going to toilet once or twice a day, in place of that we are visiting toilet 10 times a day, that means we have diarrhea. That will also mean that our fecal matter is dilute. That means we are losing water, and that also means that reabsorption or absorption of food in the small intestine will be less, because we are throwing it in a diluted form. So, we are eating food, we are digesting it to some extent, we are not able to absorb it fully, and before that we are throwing it out. We are throwing more water out also. That means we will have shortage of water in the body, shortage of digested food or absorbed food. So, if we are suffering from diarrhea, two things will definitely happen. First thing, we will feel weak. Why? Because we are eating food, we are not able to absorb it. And other thing which will happen, we will feel dehydrated, because we are throwing more water through fecal matter. So, diarrhea is injurious, and that is why it is advised that if child has diarrhea, give him more of water, more of electrolytes in the form of sugar and salt, or give a solution of sugar and salt, so that person is not suffering of dehydration and not suffering of electrolyte deficiency. And the disorder which I may like to discuss is constipation. It is opposite of diarrhea. When bowel movements are slowed and irregular, so feces remains for longer time in the rectum. So, more water and electrolytes are absorbed, and hence feces becomes very hard, and when we give out hard feces, it is constipation. Last point in this session is indigestion, whereas food is not properly digested. The reasons may be several, like inadequate enzymes, the enzymes are not produced properly, or there is food poisoning, or we have eaten more than required, or food is very spicy, or the food does not suit the body properly. Whatever the case may be, if there is indigestion, one will feel difficult, digestion will not take place, hence absorption will not take place, hence assimilation will not take place. So, final thing will be that what food we have eaten is not utilized by the body. So, we should be careful, we should not pass through indigestion condition. So, in this session we have discussed about disorders of alimentary canal, and with this we come to the end of this session. Thank you.